Burnout isn't just about being tired. It's chronic fatigue, it's irritability, it's emotional depletion, and it's a feeling of being stuck despite working hard. Black men face unique pressures, systemic stressors, family responsibilities, and the cultural expectation to be resilient at all costs. Ignoring these signs can lead to a long-term health consequences, including cardiovascular risk and mental health challenges. What's up, family, and welcome back to another episode of the Melanin Wellness Podcast. I'm your host, Corey. And have you ever given burnout a real thought and understand that it doesn't just affect women? Like, we hear women talking about being burned out all the time, and we do. We get burned out very easily because we have so many things on our plates. But oftentimes we do tend to forget that our men get stressed out and burned out as well. So that's what we're going to be talking about today. We're going to be talking about hustle culture a little bit, systemic pressures, and the expectations to provide, and how that can lead to exhaustion, stress, and even mental health struggles. So we're going to also touch on what burnout actually looks like in those cases, why it happens, and how Black men can learn to prioritize healing without feeling guilty. So let's talk about chronic exhaustion and low energy. And that's usually one of the first signs of burnout. And that's a very common sign. And sometimes it looks a little different in Black men than it does for Black women, because Black women are a little more vocal about feeling that burnout, about feeling that exhaustion, about feeling overwhelmed. And so because we are a little more vocal about it, that often causes it to be missed in Black men. The low energy and feeling like, hey, I can barely do what I have to do, which is normally get up and go to work to provide and come home, let alone all the other things that I need to do as a Black man. Another common burnout sign is feeling disconnected from work or family. Ever noticed how sometimes your man may just become completely detached? It may seem like the communication is off. It may feel like, you're talking through him instead of to him, because he's really not there. He's not present, and you can tell. And that is very common for a lot of Black men. The men in my family have discussed with me how they will often just disconnect because it is often easier than just sitting in all of the pressure that may be felt. And another common sign of burnout is increased irritability or mood swings. And I think that this is true for anybody, because I know that for me, when I am burned out, my temper and my patience is on -0. So I could definitely understand how that could also be the case for our men. And they neglect self-care. Men tend to neglect self-care oftentimes because they feel like that it's not a men thing, that it's a woman thing. But self-care is for everybody. And so when he begins to neglect those very basic things of eating properly, getting proper sleep, even something as simple as getting a pedicure if he works on his feet all the time. And pedicures ain't just for women. Pedicure is taking care of those feet, getting them soaked and massaged. And, foot reflexology is another good one. That is, a sign, or an example of self-care. But if we're neglecting those things, we are just getting by. That is another sign of burnout, because you're just too tired to take care of those things. And often the root cause are overwork or lack of support, poor boundary setting when it comes to establishing what is healthy for you and what is not healthy for you, as well as suppressed emotions. Recognizing the problem is the absolute first step toward healing your burnout. So let's talk about a few healing and recovery strategies. Now, these are some that I've employed myself, so this applies to anybody who may be going through burnout, but we are specifically talking about the men. So number one, we want to talk about setting healthy boundaries. And this may sound like such a buzzword right now, because you may hear this all over social media, but it is absolutely on point. Protecting your personal space and your personal time by establishing healthy boundaries and letting others know what you do and don't have the capacity for, what you will and will not accept, is going to be one of the best ways to preventing that overwork and that burnout feeling, when you know that it's time for you to get off from work, if you do not want to work those extra hours and you do not need to work those extra hours, then hey, the answer is no. Hey, I've got a family, responsibility that I have to take care of. And unfortunately, I'm not going to be here in order to press those boundaries and work those extra hours. Saying no to someone who may say, hey, let's go hang out, even though you know you're exhausted and you need to get some rest. Yeah, man, that sounds great. But you know what? I'm actually pretty tired and I really do need to get some rest. There's nothing wrong with saying that. Saying no when people want you to say yes. This is a huge thing because our loved ones and our friends often will ask us to do things that are beyond our capacity. And because we love them, because we want to help out, we will often say yes, even when we want to say no. But being able to say no, you don't have to be mean when you say it. You just have to simply set that boundary to say, hey, right now, that is not in my capacity to do. And there's nothing wrong with setting that healthy boundary. Number 2, again, prioritize that self-care. You want to make sure that you're getting proper sleep, getting that good nutrition, because that good nutrition is going to help to fuel your body so that you can continue to do whatever it is that you need to do every single day. And movement. Those 3 things are non-negotiable. I believe we talked about this before. Those are non-negotiable items for you if you want to continue to be here, to be able to be present, to be able to show up fully. You cannot if you are deficient in any one of those non-negotiables. Trust me, I know. Unfortunately, I've been deficient in a few of those categories more than once before. And oftentimes it is multiple of those categories at the same time, which will push you to burnout even quicker. Number 3, seek mental health support if you need it. Therapy, peer groups, mentorship, whatever that looks like for you. It can look so different for everybody. Some people enjoy online support groups. Some people like to go to in-person support groups. Some people want to seek out therapy. Some people have a close friend they can talk to. Some people choose journaling. Whatever method that you need, find it and find what works best for you and apply that into your life, because having a safe space to unburden that load, to release your feelings and your frustrations and discomforts is so crucial to preventing that burnout. Because when you're holding all of that in, it is a weight. It is a huge weight on the mind and eventually on the body. Number 4, implore some mindfulness practices. Mindfulness practices I've talked about on the show several times, and they are amazing tools that you can use often to kind of head off a burnout, head off an anxiety attack or a bout of depression or frustration or even exploding when we are angry or we're upset. Because when you're mindful, it helps you to pause in the moment. So things like meditation, breath work, prayer, and reflection help you to come back into the moment, the exact moment you're in. And it helps you to reflect a bit and to breathe before you respond, before you react, before anything. It helps to clear the mind and to reset the nervous system. And finally, make sure that you are celebrating your small wins. We have all been programmed to think, especially with social media, that things only count if it's this big show, these huge gestures, these grand gestures. But that is not the case. The small things often are the things that build up to the grand celebrations. So acknowledge your progress, not just your grind or just the grand celebrations, because we all need that reinforcement, because acknowledging those little gestures, they actually help give you that boost oftentimes, because we will forget sometimes how far we've come or what progress we've made or what we've done to get to this point now. And so we want to be careful about forgetting those things, because that means that we are not honoring ourselves the way that we need to. Okay, family, that was your burnout check. And remember that healing is not weakness. It is strength. And if you love these conversations, don't forget that we now have the Melanin Wellness Podcast magazine. And it's a space where we go even deeper into these wellness talks, fitness, beauty, and so much more. Just think of it as your wellness hub in digital form, designed to support your wellness journey beyond the mic. If you haven't already, please subscribe to the show and leave us a review on Spotify, Apple, or wherever it is that you get your podcasts. All of the links will be available to everything that I just mentioned in our show notes. And remember that your wellness matters just as much as your hustle. Until next time, family, take care.